Hey guys, this is Ray, and I'm heading out to Guadalupe River State Park right now. I've got my dog Tracker with me, and he's definitely enjoying the ride. He loves going for rides, and that didn't always used to be the case. It took a lot of barbecue, a lot of my own barbecue, in order to get Tracker to finally trust that going for a ride was not something that would be terribly devastating. Instead, it became something that he became familiar with as a joyful time. So, how does that change things? To change a mindset from doing something that's terrible, that's full of dread, to something that's instead inspiring and inspires joy, and so much joy that sometimes you can't help but pee and poop at the same time. That's how excited Tracker gets when he goes to these state parks. Always make sure to be a responsible pet owner, of course, and pick up after your pet. These places, these wild places, are used to certain things being pooped into the forest, so to speak. And so if we're feeding our pets a diet that's not necessarily what would be encountered in the wild, they really frown upon leaving your dog's droppings behind. So, always be a responsible pet owner, and I need to stay focused on what I was talking about, which was that changing our mindset has a profound impact on the outcome of our lives. How so? Have you ever seen an aging dog who maybe wants to go for a walk whenever you say, you want to go for a walk, you want a treat, you want to play? Have you ever seen those ears perk up? It's the same thing that happens with our own spirit. Our spirit is what probably fuels the will, whatever you call it, the force to live. Once we start kind of neglecting our spirit and those stories that are associated with our spirit, we kind of start dying out. And I believe that to be a truth because I was kind of dying out in terms of just how I felt about myself and what it was that I had become. And sorry, I'm slowing down suddenly because I realized my dog and I have not had a really good lunch, and I'm passing by Las Cruces Mexican restaurant out here in Bernie, which, if you haven't been here, I recommend it. It's good stuff. And sorry, just basically trying to park with 3 other people parking at the same time. Technical maneuver that only a pro can pull off, especially with a dog in lap, and line up precisely. So the thing is that basically I'm going to pick up some lunch, I'm going to have a meal, we're going to have a good walk, and we're going to do what it is that people who are living their dreams do. What it is that people who have a positive current do. They spend time doing things that inspire them to do well, but they spend time for themselves doing things that inspire them to do well with others, for others, because of others as well. Because if I'm happy, I can't help but wanting to make the next person happy as well. And my dog is an entity that I've overlooked for a long time. When I rescued my pup, it was right when I started in IT at USAA. And I promised him, because I was working in IT, since I would be able to work from home more likely than not. And guess what? I had the opportunity where I could work from home as much as I wanted. I only didn't because it was easier to have multiple screens to deal with all of the tasks that were given to me by my employer, my then employer. And so I've taken and reallocated all of those crazy minute details that I had to disturb my mind with all day long for that super high rate of pay, and I've exchanged it for being able to do what it is that I want to do in my daily life for a rate of pay that's a little bit different from what you would consider a super high rate of pay. So how am I going to live? What am I going to do? Not so worried about that yet, because there are a lot of opportunities that I can believe in achieving. That's really That's really what it equates to. And since I believe I can achieve all those things, I've already succeeded in many aspects in drawing income in ways that I think can easily monetize what it is that I'm doing out here, which is just inspiring people to take time for themselves again. Because until we care for ourselves, it's very hard to care for anybody else. And until we hear what it is that somebody who cares for themselves is saying, it's hard for us to realize, how did that person's health change? How did their attitude change? What is it that changed? There's not a whole lot about me that's changed. I'm still the sarcastic guy that you love to joke around with, because I'll take it to the next level every time. Only I don't have a lot of the same stressors that I used to have, because I'm doing a job for what I believe in. Whether or not I'm paid by a corporate industry, whether or not I have the same tasks to rearrange on my monitors at work, doesn't mean that I'm doing any less work. But I tell you what, I've been working really hard lately, and so I got to play hard too. And the other thing is, I need to focus on my pup. 5 years ago, I told him, working from home, I'm going to be able to take you for a lot of walks. Guess what? I haven't. Guess what? I've also still been on the road a lot since I've stopped, since I've left the corporate environment. So I've still been neglecting my own pup. What's up with that? That's pretty messed up. So what I'm doing today, with the way that time has been allocated to me, even though I've got a mountain of other things to do, is I'm still making time for those things that are important to me. If someone was in the hospital and I wanted to visit them because I hadn't seen them in a long time, and I really had gone to visit them prior to them being in the hospital, well, to me that means I'm overdue, right? So I focused on doing that. If somebody calls me or gets in touch with me and has questions, I focus on that. Those are the things we should all be focusing on. Instead, for most of us, what we do is we move those little tasks around on our monitor and put a lot of things on the back burner. Now, what's the biggest thing on the back burner? Usually, it's ourselves. And I couldn't believe it until I started to realize everything changes when we care for ourselves first. When we care for ourselves first, we do things naturally to improve our own health first. We don't go for something else first that someone else suggests. We act based on our own mental capacity to follow what it is that we believe in. So if you believe in something, you can achieve it. Why not? Who's stopping you? What institution have we designed that has held us back for so long, if not just one thing? That we don't believe in ourselves enough to pursue what it is that we describe as happiness. So let that sink in for a while. There are a lot of people, a lot of poets who have said these type of things before. One great poet, Tupac Shakur, he said that real people do what they want to do. Uninspired people do what they can. Now, I had to paraphrase a lot of what he said just then, which, if anyone knows who Tupac is, one of my favorite sayings of his is, you either ride with me or you collide with me. There's a little bit more to that, but either way, it's kind of that simple. You know, you're either in alignment or you're not. And when you're in alignment, you're starting to understand that you take a lot of these actions into your own hand to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. When you don't do that, it seems like everything I'm saying is offensive for whatever reason. I'm not trying to offend anybody. I've done all these things. I've gone through all this process, and all I'm saying is there are a multitude of things that you could be doing out there in the world right now that are more in alignment with what it is, who it is that your soul is. And if you were to just do that, you would naturally attract money from those. And I like to call that energy. Money is energy. It's something that we store up. You know, I don't know how else to describe it except for as prana. It's like when you eat fruit and it has energy, versus when you eat meat and it just makes you. It feeds something else. I call it the ego. If you're feeding your ego, it's pretty easy. It's easy to feed our ego in today's world. Easy. I can go down any street in any city, almost. There are some small communities being the key word. There are small communities that don't have a lot of these same chain events that we do. They don't have the same health that we've got. Why? Because they're not eating tacos every day. True. I'm about to have some kind of taco or another. I'm not sure what kind, but I am going to share it with my dog. Why is that? If I don't believe in eating it, I wouldn't share it with my dog. My dog eats the same foods that I eat every time. The only thing is I'm mindful about the foods that are known to be harmful to dogs. Why is that? Is it just because I don't like to worry as much about things all day long and try to plan out things around other people's opinions? Or is it because I'm living a lifestyle that's a little bit more based on reality and a little bit less based on social pre-constructed constraints? I'm not sure. You can watch The Matrix. You can watch Star Wars. I always have to think about it when I think about what it is I'm wearing. I'm not that... the way I categorize things makes it hard for me to instantly recall Star Trek or Star Wars. Well, I know they're different, and I know one's completely... They're both different, but they're both the same, is what I'm saying in my mind. The story is good versus evil. It's this... I could compare those two stories to the Bible if I wanted to. And I challenge you to tell me that's not true. That all of the stories about good and evil are not exactly the same type of formula. I could write a new story based on that same exact set of characters. What if I'm writing the story right now, except for it's in a visual format? Nobody knows until it's all unfolding in front of us. But as it's unfolding, you're going to see certain things. There are people that are making progress towards their dreams, and they're living their dreams with everything in abundance. And there are other people who are struggling and trying to put down everyone behind their back. Which part are you a part of? So how are you aligning? Are you aligning with the people that support you, or the people that frustrate you? That's the whole thing. That's what I would like to liken to karma. Same as prana. What goes around comes around. If we invest in a certain lifestyle that produces a lot of plastic bottles, well, guess what? Our own life is also going to be filled with clutter. When we clutter up nature, we clutter up our own lives. What we do unto others comes back to us. I'm not trying to make this stuff up. It's already been told to us. We either believe it or we don't. We either follow it or we don't. And whether or not you associate with the Bible thumpers or whatever people want to call it, question is, are you yourself doing good or not? What you do unto others happens to you. I just did it. That was like a Bushism, the way I completed it there. Well, you can fool me once, you can fool me twice. Point is, you're not going to fool me again. That's what happened. I was fooled. I was bamboozled all along the way to buy into the exact same things that everyone else was buying into. A lot of those layers have fallen away. I've outgrown a lot of the levels that I used to think I was at, and I've realized that there are a whole other set of levels in this world of hope and possibility and wealth and leadership. There's so much more available to us. There is abundance. Only you have to understand how it's going to unfold. The abundance it's there, But it's going to take some real leaders to wake up and help people to understand that everything that happens to us passes through our own hands and thoughts. All of our health manifests from how we feel about ourselves, even. So if we're hanging out with people that put us down all the time, remember, bullies don't like being called out in public. Make a wisecrack. Laugh at it. I don't know how else to say it. Sometimes people feel meek and afraid to stand up for themselves. I was lucky. I grew tall at a certain point. People think I'm scary looking. Really a nice guy. Lighthearted. I don't carry a gun. I would never want to just shoot somebody, especially if they confronted me. I need to know the backstory, man. When people yelled at me on the customer service lines, I needed to know the backstory. Their cursing didn't offend me. What offended me was when something fell through and caused discomfort to my brother or sister on the line. That's what bothered me. I wanted to resolve the problem. I'm sure a lot of you are the same exact way as me. You feel that same empathy for each other. Why not for ourselves? Let me leave you with that. Pup and I are going to have some food. We're going to go for a walk. And then I'm going to go pick up my custom gear that I made for this upcoming trip. And it wasn't so random, this gear that I got. It's absolutely critical, integral stuff that I'm going to be using in my line of work. Why do I mention that? Because everything you see in my life that I have is a work tool. I'm ready to give it up if this is not something that I succeed at. All of this is for my job. And I love my job. So, being that I love my job, I challenge you to set a limit on my income. And I'll see you through. And I'll double that. And I'll shatter that ceiling and the next ceiling, just like I've done throughout my past. Especially because I love what it is that I do. I hope you love what you do. If you don't have that level of passion for what it is you do, reevaluate just where you stand in life, what opportunity you have to make a transition into something that is more befitting, and I'll even say it this way, for a child of God like yourself. If you are a child of God, you are entitled to those blessings. That's the only entitlement you have. It was given to you based on the lessons that you were told in that book. Whatever one you subscribe to. It just depends on who taught it to you, how you heard the message. Was it joyful? Or did it cause dread? That's how I tie everything together. When I'm going to pick from food-wise, I need to know at least didn't live in dread. That's how I'm going to make my choice when I walk into here. So, that's how I live. Doesn't matter how everyone else lives. Matters how I live in terms of what I want to receive in what would be called the house of God, in nature, in the universe. However you want to phrase it, really. Doesn't matter to me how you phrase it. It doesn't offend me. It doesn't offend me because I don't speak every language. Since I don't speak every language, I don't know the name by which everybody calls everybody. I only know that there are truths that have led to certain outcomes for me. And I challenge you to follow these truths and have alternate outcomes yourself. In fact, I'm looking forward to hearing your success stories as you challenge yourself and accept that you love yourself enough to take the next level up in your own journey to wherever it is you want to aspire to be. Have a great day. Signing off, this is Ray. I don't know how to say it any other way. Just have a great day.